Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath KELO Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. It's great to have you along. I've got a little more today than I did yesterday for you. Excuse me. The FBI is saying that the reward for information on Nancy Guthrie and her disappearance now is $100,000. So $100,000 cash reward. So they're doubling it. And you're getting retired FBI agents reacting to that and saying, you know, suddenly with the doubling of the reward seems to indicate, yeah, they're needing some help. They're really looking for some help. And this, I hope it leads to something. That case has just been incredibly shocking. And there's one FBI agent says, when you see a case quiet, when there's no big amount of money offered, that means they're running leads, that they really don't need the public's help. So when they offer a big reward like that, doubling the reward now to $100,000 for more information on Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, means they probably need help, that there isn't a lot of leads out there. This story, this is crazy. The Trump administration fired a U.S. attorney the same day he was sworn in. Now, before you rush to judgment, this will make sense to you in a moment. Because of that, what? You know, why would you install somebody and then immediately remove them? It was a board of judges for the U.S. District Court in New York that had tapped a man to be the U.S. attorney for the Northern District of New York. And the administration finds out about it and like, yeah, no. Todd Blanche, who's the deputy U.S. attorney general, said judges don't pick U.S. attorneys. The president does that. So this is what it really then is. You see the courts overstepping. And I think that's where a lot of this battle is right now, where you see courts that are really, really overstepping their authority and things that they wind up doing. Judge Boasberg is one of those judges that really oversteps his authority. A board of judges for the U.S. District Court appointing a judge then to be the appointing someone to be the U.S. attorney. No, it's the president of the United States who does that. And the position was, the court said that a position that was vacant, and that they exercised their authority then, but no, the Trump administration immediately stepping in. So I will imagine that will not be vacant for long, but they removed the judge almost immediately after the judge had been sworn in. Okay, also, it's another day in bizarro world, right, folks? Police in Kansas City, get a load of this. So a woman, she set fire to a warehouse. Why? Why did she do that? Because she heard that it was being considered for purchase by ICE. ICE may be looking at we don't know whether they are, looking at this warehouse, but ICE might be considering buying this warehouse. And so she sprayed liquid on the building yesterday afternoon, set it on fire. This is crazy. So the fire, fortunately, was put out before it could spread. Nobody was injured. Andy No had some video of this. A far left extremist who has not been apprehended tried to burn down a warehouse in Kansas City over a rumor that it would be a future ICE detention center. This is just absolute craziness that's ongoing. So there had been this warehouse. You get the anti-ICE people. They're out there. They're protesting and they're carrying on. I think these people, this is just nonsense. What these folks then, it's one thing to protest. And you and I, all of us, I think, support peaceful protest. Even from folks with whom we disagree. The idea of peaceful protest, absolutely. That's what this country is all about. But what we have seen, what we saw in Minneapolis, this kind of nonsense, this isn't peaceful protest. These are lawless people, and I hope they find out who was responsible for that and hit them with the full force of the law. But as of right now, that suspect currently remains at large. I think you're going to love this. It's a piece at Town Hall. Excuse me. Sorry. Lisa Murkowski got cooked. She will not sign on. She's one of the Republicans who will not sign on to the SAVE Act. And we've talked about that at length. So she opposes election integrity, and she voiced her opposition to the SAVE Act. But get a load of this. And she said, when Democrats attempted to advance sweeping election reform legislation in 2021, Republicans were unanimous in opposition because it would have federalized elections, something we have long opposed. Now I'm seeing proposals such as the SAVE Act that would, do the same thing, except when Murkowski says Republicans were unanimous in their opposition to this election reform legislation, that's incorrect. And she was the lone Republican who voted in favor of it. So all Republicans were not unanimous. The rest of Republicans were. She voted with the Democrats on this. And that's being pointed out on social media by Representative Anna Paulina Luna, among a number of others. And Representative Anna Paulina Luna said, I'm just going to leave this here. And then she shares a screenshot of the community notes saying, no, actually, she voted for this along with the Democrats. And I love this when these folks get caught lying about their own voting records, like we have no memory. So she apparently, Senator, I want to be careful here. You've got a number of Republicans who are dragging their feet. And this piece at Town Hall says that Murkowski isn't alone. Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky also hiding in the bunker, not in our bunker, hiding in the bunker. And Susan Collins is also dragging her feet on this bill. And for those of you who are on X, there's a lot of attention on X on this SAVE Act. I mean, I am seeing more and more people, and they're pushing and they're saying, call these members of Congress who are holding out on this, and they're listing the names. Contact these. These are the members of Congress that you need to contact and get them on board with the SAVE Act. It's something that I think is just absolutely critically important. Both of South Dakota's senators have said that they will support the SAVE Act. Senator Mike Rounds and I talked about it yesterday. If you missed that conversation, you can find it at KELO.com. So all of my podcasts, the entire show. I want to make sure you understand that if you miss portions of the show, all of it is available for you on our website. So if you ever want to go back and you want to hear something, you missed something, maybe you missed an hour of the show, you want to go back and pick it up, you can do that at KELO.com. You'll find it all in my podcasts. The president yesterday, this was yesterday morning about this time, that the president was responding. You and I talked on the air yesterday about the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, testifying before the House. She was before a House committee. And the president, I don't know, many of you in your comments on Facebook yesterday, and folks that are known to me and are Trump supporters have been less than enthusiastic about Pam Bondi. And Dusty Johnson and I talked about this a little bit also today. And if you missed that conversation, you'll be able to find it in my podcast at KELO.com. But Congressman Johnson and I talked about this, and he said, you know, I wouldn't have liked to be under that microscope, you know. And I said something very similar yesterday as we were talking about it, that I wouldn't want to be facing the heat, you know, as she was, but she bit pretty hard. And the president apparently loves it. The president said the Bondi was fantastic. At the hearing, he said, on the never-ending saga of Jeffrey Epstein, where the one thing that has been proven conclusively, much to their chagrin, was that President Trump has been 100% exonerated of their ridiculous Russia type charges. Actually, it is the slimeball Democrats, many of them big donors and politicians, that have been proven guilty. And then he goes on to talk about Thomas Massie. The president refers to him as Republican loser, sanctimonious rhino congressman. Thomas Massie made a total fool of himself yesterday, fighting aimlessly against a hopeless agenda of hate and stupidity. So the president goes on here at some length. Very proud of Pam Bondi, upset with Thomas Massie. I'm upset with Thomas Massie too. The same way with some of these other Republicans who sound like leftist Democrats. I mean, that doesn't. You're a Republican, it ought to stand for something. It doesn't mean you agree with the president on everything, but I think we can disagree in a respectful way. And Thomas Massie and the rest of these folks, get rid of them. I mean, seriously, I just want to flush these people out of the party. Just absolutely drive me crazy. So I can understand where the president is coming from and why he's so frustrated with Representative Thomas Massie. Couple of other stories that I wanted to share with you. This is a piece at townhall.com. Piece by Amy Curtis. We regret to inform you that Democrats are grilling again. Now, the Democrats have been famous. They're out grilling, and they shoot videos while they're out there grilling. And I think probably the most notable one was Senator Chuck Schumer, who was grilling, and he had a hamburger on the grill, obviously raw, and he's putting cheese on it. Everybody who grills knows, yeah, you're not putting cheese on raw meat. You do that at the very end. First, you cook the beef, and then you put the cheese on, and then sometimes cover it, steam it up, right? Get the cheese melting really nicely. Right? You don't put the cheese on raw meat. You got to turn that over, Senator, and to cook it first. So anyway, the Democrats are out there apparently grilling again. Who's up to it now? Governor Abigail Spanberger she was out there grilling, and people are trying to figure out what it was that she had on the grill. And I looked at I can't tell you what it was. So she's out grilling, and they're doing there's it looks like a bone in that. I don't know what it is. I'm looking at a photo here. Just absolutely crazy. And people are asking, why are Democrats so fascinated and fixated on grilling in front of a camera? Do they think that's going to allow them to relate to the average Joe? Yeah. Because you look at this, again, like Schumer, you're putting cheese on a raw hamburger. Everybody who grills knows you don't do that. So Abigail Spanberger is the latest to be shooting videos. So also, this is crazy. You got San Francisco teachers who are on strike. And I want you to get a load of this. I got to get down to the end of this piece here. They are here it is. There's a New York Post article. And so with the strike going on, local parents are now fuming after teachers emailed them and asked them not to encourage any home study. So you got teachers emailing and saying, hey, parents, while we're on strike, don't encourage any home study. That's what education is in San Francisco. You want to raise your family there? I mean, if you had teachers on strike, this is not meant to be derogatory about teachers. I love teachers. I appreciate what they do. I appreciated the teachers that I had. I appreciate that's an incredibly difficult job. I've got a daughter who's involved in education. And other folks that I know, my ex-wife, number of others. I have a deep respect for education. But you're out on strike and you're telling parents, do not encourage any home study. That is just absolutely crazy. And a screenshot said, if many families participate in independent study, it reduces pressure on the district and can prolong the strike. So if you are able, we ask that you do not participate in the independent study provided by the district. I think that just tells you everything you need to know about some of these people. And this I found to be a very interesting piece by David Manny at PJ Media. And the headline is, Tom Homan sets the record straight on Minneapolis. And he points out the Democrats, Amy Klobuchar said, Minnesotans stood together, stared down ICE, and never blinked. I mean, and you have got Governor Walz of Minnesota who's saying the same kind of nonsensical bull crap. Just a lot of people who are out there with that. And so now apparently there are some, I guess, conservatives, Trump supporters, I'm not one of them, who are upset about the fact that ICE now has left Minnesota. And that the point then that this piece makes is, what we saw was cooperation, that there was some cooperation. And again, Democrats immediately talked tough afterward. There were immediately the mayor of Minneapolis, who was Fry, who was immediately out there, talking very tough. But you had Holman says, on great cooperation coming from local law enforcement, working with ICE and, allowing access then into jails, which they had never done before. A lot of those changes taking place. which I think is a win. I think that's an absolute win. ICE is pulling out of Minneapolis, as well as a number of other places too. So they're ending, they're drawing then forces down because they have made their point. But I want you to keep in mind, and this is the point that Manny makes in the article, and I think it's a good one. Keep in mind, can always go back in. You can always go back in. That if the Democrats are going to insist on a lot of this craziness that they have been pushing, you can always go back in. So this isn't as Democrats in Minnesota are saying, Minnesota stood strong. And I have never had a lesser opinion of the state of Minnesota than I do right now. My opinion in Minnesota has been so diminished and tarnished by what we have seen happen. I have in the past enjoyed going up to Minneapolis, have been up there a number of times, done some wonderful things. There are some wonderful theaters up there. I've gone up and seen a number of shows, both at the Guthrie, at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater, which I always enjoyed. No more. I won't. If I want more, if I want a bigger city experience, I'm going to go to Omaha. I'm not going to go to Minnesota. I want no part of that. And then to see Minnesota elected officials then doubling down on this, like somehow they're victorious, when all of us know that they got their butts kicked. They got their butts kicked. They capitulated. They gave in to the federal government and they started cooperating. That's all we wanted. I think that's all the Trump administration was asking for, is that these people in Minnesota cooperate with federal officials. And they got that. That is a victory any way you look at it. Anything else coming from Amy Klobuchar or anybody else, Governor Walz, is just absolute spin. It's like everything else that comes out of Walz's mouth. It's an absolute total lie. It's fiction. So I'm not concerned. Maybe you're concerned about the drawdown, and I welcome your comments. As always, feel free to leave comments. You can drop me an email, share your thoughts with me. I love hearing from you, but the Democrats out there crowing like somehow this was some kind of a victory over the federal government. All of us know they folded like a cheap suit, baby. They folded like a cheap suit. They were, allowing ICE access to prisoners, which is one of the reasons for the drawdown. If you are no longer forcing ICE to have to come in to businesses or apartment buildings, if you're allowing them to come into the jail in a safe environment, Tom Homan has talked about this. It takes fewer officers. You could have one ICE officer coming in to a jail to apprehend someone rather than an army of them going into an apartment complex. The sense of that, I think, is easily seen. So all of the crowing and the chest beating by Amy Klobuchar and the other nitwits coming out of Minnesota is just a little bit too much. It's totally disingenuous. Don't buy it for a minute. If you're not a subscriber of mine on YouTube, I hope you'll please become one. I picked up a few of you this week, and we've been doing well. We've been kind of moving, picking up more and more folks. If you're not a subscriber, let me appeal to you, please. Please hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, please hit the like button. If you've got like-minded friends, I'm not asking you to send this to folks who are not like-minded. I mean, to say, hey, you ought to watch this. I don't want to give anybody a stroke. Because I don't even send my stuff to my own family members because some of them would not do well. They would not respond well. But please like it, share it with people that you know are like-minded. That's all I'm looking for. I'm looking to grow like-minded people, not to be in the face of those who have a different point of view. So if you hit subscribe on YouTube, you help me do that. If you hit the like button on Facebook, you help me do that. Same thing on X. If you comment or you share it on X, you help me do all those things. And I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to leave it there. I want to wish you a really great weekend. Keep in mind, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So I hope you have a great Valentine's Day. I will see you again on Monday. And until then, my friend, I'm underground and